Hello, it's me again. It's been a heck of a day, so I am doing my makeup super late in the day. My kids are actually in the bath, so you're going to hear them probably in the background because they're just in the bath behind me. But I just really felt like talking and taking care of myself a little bit today, so here we are. I just can't stress how important enough it is to like find out what self-care means to you because 10 years ago I would have had no idea just how important it was to me to do my makeup and to look pretty unto myself, even though no one's going to see this and I'm going to probably take it off in about an hour. I think there's a joy to the process and a community that I like being part of when I do my makeup. So I'm going to do a full face, even though it's pitch black outside. I actually found out that's super common with a lot of people on YouTube who are moms. Is you find the time when you find the time. You don't find the wrong time and try to make it perfect. And that interruption probably exemplified exactly what I am talking about perfectly. My kid needed some cars for the bathtub. I don't know what it is about kids and like bath toys, but they don't want to use like the rubber duckies and like the specialized bath toys we got them. They want to use like cars and battery powered toys. I'm like, guys, these can't go in the bath, but that's what they want. But I'm just feeling kind of creative today, so I don't really know what I'm going to do with my makeup, but I did think a lot about what I want to talk about. And that is, again, I'm a mental health student. This is like what's really important to me. So I'm going to talk about mental health again because I just ran across something online, which I just thought made so much sense. Why does it look so ghostly in the frame? I promise you it's not this pale in real life. My foundation, that is. But back to what I was learning about myself and mental health, I was watching, she's got a Instagram presence. Her name is Raquel Martin. She's a psychologist, and she was discussing this idea of pouring from an empty cup. You can't engage in self-care and fill your cup to help others if you cannot fill your cup, which is just like, it feels obvious, but it's not. But we all come into this world more or less thinking that we are a cup. But some of us are actually colanders. We are, again, for lack of a better term, leaky. And you cannot fill yourself up enough, no matter how much self-care you do. And the way to truly, truly care for ourselves in that instance is to plug some of those holes. And I'm not necessarily plugging, pun intended, for therapy exactly at this point, but it does kind of point that direction. If you have something that is a hole in your life, it's kind of like affirmations. No matter how many times you say an affirmation or give them to yourself, if you don't believe it, it's going to be meaningless. So how do we plug those holes in our lives, and how do we identify what those holes are? And for me, that's the stressors that I have going on. Like, I can't stop everything going on in my life, and if I did, I don't know that I want to. I think I'd regret making decisions that made my life easier. Because that's just a long-term sacrifice for a short-term gain. But I'm also learning and frustrated and having difficulty with what I'm able to accomplish that's too much. If I'm not able to push myself. And that realization was perfectly timed with me seeing another one of her videos where she was talking about capacity versus discipline. And a lot of us, and she didn't say this, but this is absolutely my experience in the ADHD community, is a lot of us just push through. We think we have a discipline problem, but we don't have a discipline problem. We have a capacity problem. So, a lot of what I do as an ADHD coach is people come to me and they want answers and they want to know. I want to know the trick. I want to know the secret that'll get me more productive. And like one of the first things that I tell every single one of my clients is you are not ever going to beat ADHD. You will, however, find a way that you can live with it. And I feel like, and hopefully this is accurate, but I feel like teaching people that and teaching them self-compassion first gives them the capacity to then feel renewed and replenished and recharged enough to start plugging those holes. When you stop believing that you are flawed and that something is wrong with you, that you were born without holes and you developed them through no fault of your own, right? Then and only then can you start actually feeling renewed and regenerated and prepared to take on what you want to take on in the day. Only then can you pour from an empty cup, or pour into your cup and fill it as if you believe the affirmations and things that you were telling yourself. And it's one of those things that I'm like, man, that should have been really obvious to me in my own life, because those are the things that I practice as a coach. Those are the things that I always tell other people. But any expert in, the mental health space can tell you, or not even mental health space, like other spaces will tell you, like, we always give out advice that we don't follow ourselves. And I am so forgiving of other people and so like just hoping that they see they have their own value and their own dignity, and it is independent of their capacity to produce. And then like I don't extend myself that same grace. Like I'm just a living example of of that hypocrisy. Like, let's call it what it is. It's a dirty word. It's me holding myself to a higher standard than I hold other people. Well, of course I'm going to be upset with myself. I don't see how it would be any other way. I'm having to decide what to wear right now, so I'm just going to start laying my makeup on and not thinking about it, because it's coming off in an hour. If there's no better time to make a mistake, well, there is no better time to make a mistake. This is it. If your makeup's coming off in an hour, just experiment and have fun and let the creativity take you, and you'll learn something every time you do it. Oh, that's interesting, pretty. But I'm kind of curious to like what your guys' reaction is to this, kind of at least my realization and how that impacts you, because hearing that I'm a colander, or perhaps realizing that I'm a colander, doesn't feel very empowering. It doesn't feel very motivating. It definitely feels like it is your fault. I know I said it's no fault of your own, but it doesn't feel that way. I really don't know what I'm doing. It's a good problem to have, right? Having so much makeup, you don't know what to do with it. That's reassuring. But like, I had to take a step back and go, is that what she's saying? Did she say that it's my fault that I'm a colander, or did I assume it's my fault that I'm a colander? I think back to like things that I've camouflaged during my autism diagnosis. And, one of those things was, eye contact. I don't know how well I make eye contact with others, but I know that it's expected and I do. And I personally don't find it terribly uncomfortable now. But I do have a memory or two growing up of my father forcing that eye contact, where he would take my chin in his hands and he would direct my gaze at him. So, and I was a very young child when this was happening. So how much of me is truly myself? And does that mean I am broken because I don't make eye contact? No, absolutely not. But that's a hole that needs to be filled with it, because I'm constantly thinking, well, I should, and the answer is no. That is a fictitious story and narrative that you have told yourself. There are no shoulds. Like people who say, well, I should be able to complete this project, or I should, and it's kind of like, who says that? Truly, who says? Other people say who don't have your capacity and your resources. And there's a lot of tips and tricks to navigating the physical aspects of having ADHD, and I know I've crossed into an autism discussion as well, but very similar in terms of impact to the person of not feeling good enough. There's like the choose one thing you can get it done, swallowing the frog, it's blocking for time. Like there's always all these techniques you can use to better yourself, but none of them. Sorry, I'm marking down the shades I use because I don't want to forget. But none of them actually entail self-acceptance. You can try everything and it's still going to feel miserable. You can have a lot of success navigating ADHD, and you can be a CEO and be masking your autism, and you'll still be miserable. And I'm a perfect example of that. I can't tell you how many service members are in the military with autism, but I can tell you it's a handful. It's probably in the 2 digits. I doubt it's in 3 digits high. Maybe it is, but having to mask that and navigate that world very inauthentically, yeah, I was able to push myself, but I gave myself a should that never existed. I said I should be able to do this, and no, all the paperwork and all the odds say, no, I should not be able to do this. So why am I so insisting and insistful? I don't know the right word there. That I can do something that I should be able to. Like, no. There's nothing that says that. There's no rule that says I have to be exceptional. And the reality is I'm already quite exceptional to have made it as far as I have. And so that message is something that I think is worth spreading to people. Like, you've already accomplished enough, and you already are exceptional. The only reason you think you need to be more exceptional is if you have a benchmark of someone else. And in true fashion, comparison is the thief of joy. You will always find someone who's doing better than you. And you will never, ever, ever be able to plug your holes, so to speak. You will always be living with the trauma that someone else has given you, because you aren't able to accept your own value and your own worth, again, outside of production. And that has been part of my journey for a very long time. And one of the reasons that I'm so committed to finishing my program is because I want to be able to pay it forward. And I want to be able to like pass on those lessons that I've learned through experience, without necessarily having to have someone go through that experience. I don't want, people to wake up and feel worthless and nothing will ever restore their value because of the way someone else made them feel, because of the holes that someone else poked in their cup. Even though, again, it feels like your fault and it feels like you were born that way. No, you weren't born lacking worth. You were born different and someone else made you feel worthless because you were different. And I'm also like almost excited. Gotta deal with them kids. Sorry for that. Once again, a little one needed out of the bath. And that definitely derailed my train of thought, but that's okay because I said 98% of what I wanted to say. It's okay that last 2% didn't get out. I've heard that it's the hardest to get out and that's why they leave it in the milk. Definitely don't think that joke is true. One of the most absurd things I've ever heard on TV. But, hopefully that lives with you with a little chuckle. This eyeshadow look turned out very Christmassy, which makes sense because here's the palette that I predominantly used. So I'm pretty happy with it. It's helping me. I'm getting on with my No Pan Left Behind challenge pretty well. I feel that's about as symmetrical as my eyeshadow is going to get today. And overall, I'm pretty happy with the fact that I kind of spent some time to myself, doing self-care. And I am still doing self-care because even though, I can't plug those holes through makeup, I can still help put something in the cup, and I can work on plugging those holes simultaneously. I can work on convincing myself that I have a value by acting as if I have value, which is one of the best psychological tools that you can ever have in your arsenal. If you feel that you are just bleeding and no amount of love can fill you up, just pretend and say, what would I do if I believed that I was worthy of this love? What would that person do? And then do that thing. Act as if that you are the person that you want to be. And you will find that you become the person that you want to be. Really, really beautiful, simple. Kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy, I think, is the more simple way to say that. So, that's what I'm working on is recognizing that I am at my limits. I am at max capacity. I am in school, starting 2 businesses, sort of, like a business and a half. I've got tutoring and I do volunteer work, and I've got 4 kids and my husband's deployed, and I think there's just a day where I have to acknowledge I am at capacity. I am doing enough, and I have to believe that I am enough. There is nothing that I can do. There's no amount of discipline that I can exhibit that will fill up those holes. And I know next time I go see a therapist, she's gonna be like, yes, this is exactly what I would have told you. And I'm like, yeah, but it's just taken me so long to have figured that out. It has taken me so long to get to a place of understanding and to realize that I am enough as I am. It's not overnight, and it definitely takes time and it takes growth. And that's another thing I wish my clients knew, is how long the process is going to be. People are like, how many coaching sessions do you think I need? 2, 3? And I'm just like, if the answer were 2 or 3, you would have just Googled what you needed to know. Can we add a number of months instead of sessions? Nobody likes hearing that, but I mean, it's true. Deep, meaningful change takes time, and plugging those holes takes time. Realizing you are enough takes time. Practicing grace and realizing that you are at capacity takes time. You are not broken. You are not lazy. You are not undisciplined. you are whole the way you are made, and other people and yourself have given you an inaccurate belief that you are not whole, and it is up to you, unfortunately, to fix someone else's damage and create a you that is whole and inspiring and uniquely you. And I hope that this helps someone. It's helped me. And that's not it, but that's it for now. So have a beautiful evening, and remember that beauty is on the inside.